Mail-In Podcast, we are back live from the beautiful South Lamar Studios in Austin, Texas.
I thought it was the People Lodge.
It's the People Cave. I don't really love the People Cave, but it's kind of stuck weirdly. So I think until we find a better nickname that just gets kind of put out there randomly, it's the People Cave. So how are you, Sally?
I just got a haircut.
You stole my thunder. I was going to say, did you get a haircut after How Are You?
Yeah, thank you.
It looks great.
Will and I have actually gotten in fights before when one of us doesn't recognize that the other person got a haircut.
I feel like that's a very common thing for women.
Obviously, like someone notices that you got a haircut most of the time. Like I always notice when Will does, but it's like not an immediate.
Mm-hmm.
And like my hair is done, which is like number one. I probably got it done professionally because I never do my hair anymore during the weekdays. But two, I cut about 4 inches off.
I was gonna say it looks short, but it looks good.
I don't get my hair cut that often. Mm-hmm. I go like probably 2 or 3 times a year. Okay. I don't like require that much upkeep, you know, but I won't like schedule an appointment and then all of a sudden I'll be like, oh my God, it's way too long. And I hit that point about 2 weeks ago. Mm-hmm. I was like getting ready for Fritz's party and it was so hot. And I was like, it's way too long. I need to chop it off.
Just like, nope, I'm out.
And it's not even like that's that short. I just was like, it's basically touching my butt. Mm-hmm. Not a good look for me. So yeah.
I think it looks fantastic.
Thank
it looks
you.
light too. It's like,
well, she does layer it up. And then I asked her what can be done about my Bridgerton bangs, and she laughed at me and said nothing.
That's different than the baby.
No, that's
floppers,
yeah. It's
right?
It's all what we call is the halo of sadness. It's just like all the hair that I lost underneath too.
Okay.
She did suggest, like jokingly, but then I was like, this could work, is like really embracing like the Kardashian wet look ponytail, like where like they all have like their hair like plastered to their head.
Oh, interesting.
And then it looks like they just have wet hair. So I might do that. A lot of people were doing that in Cabo because like you don't have time or like the patience to like dry your hair. And, style it.
Well, in Cabo, you get beach vibes too. I mean, you get some salt in the air.
I have the time to blow dry my hair and do it because I was trying to get some pics off, but like both my sisters were just like showing up in a bun, being like, I don't give a shit. It looked great though.
I enjoyed the Cabo, the wind and the salt and the sand. It makes my hair loves that.
So y'all didn't talk about this, I don't think, but we did a dinner on a cliff, like in Pedregal. So close to where Edith's is, but on the water.
Sure.
And there were waves like, I mean, it was like high tide. So they're like splashing people like we're at freaking SeaWorld. And I looked over at Ryan, Emily's boyfriend, and he was like, I thought he was going to be pissed. I was like, hopefully the mist died. Because it would never like hit us directly, but it would hit and then we would get all the mist from it.
Sure, yeah.
And so honestly, it wasn't like, I was not that annoyed. But I looked over at Ryan, he looked annoyed. And I'm like, are you okay? And he's like, my hair is going to look so good tomorrow. And I was like, oh, okay. So you like this? He's like, yeah, like the fresh sea salt, there's nothing better. So like both of us, like everyone else is getting super annoyed. There's like, I mean, it started hitting the like legitimate water hitting the people like next to us. But Ryan and I are like,
let the hair bask a little bit.
Did you ever use John Frieda sea salt spray?
I used Bumble and Bumble sea salt spray for a long time. I don't have one currently. I'm in the market.
They used to have a John Frieda one, like when I was in middle school. It was in this like aquamarine bottle, and
good movie, by the way. I left it off my teenage crush list.
Yeah, I was a little too old for aquamarine. I think like it was like right after probably
the movie.
Like, I knew who they were, but it wasn't like I was like running to go see it.
Yeah, 06, Sarah Paxton, big time,
the blonde one. Yeah. Anyway, it smelled a little bit like vaguely of coconut. It was just so tropical and beachy, this John Frieda spray, and they discontinued it. So
we could put together like
for a sea salt spray this summer.
Like a former employer of mine, Barstool, is getting into they're a big enough company that they can do their own products, private label. Mm-hmm. And they've done a grooming one. They're doing a ghost kitchen kind of thing. They, on and on and on. I think we could get to a point at Washed Media where we could have our own products.
Yeah,
just private label.
I mean, I'm down to make a Wilmon's sea salt spray.
Oh my God,
Sally. Okay, So this,
That is such a good idea.
I just found it on Amazon. This is John Frieda Beach Blonde Sea Waves Sea Salt.
Is it like Quaaludes where they're super discontinued, but you can find them on like the Silk Road?
This is not what I remember it looking like.
Don't buy Quaaludes, everybody.
I think this is like the new version of what it used to be because it was in like a clear bottle, like a clear aqua tinted bottle.
Gotcha.
But I'm willing to spend the $24 to see if it's the same.
Damn, $24.
This has got to be something discontinued because there's like 4.
Oh my God, buy them all. There's 4 left. It's like 4 in stock.
There's like 4 reviews on it. People are probably like, this is stupid. Nice sea spray for the money.
Sea salt spray. If you are, male or female there, and you're looking for a little bit of texture and waviness and some volume that you don't normally have, especially in the summer, especially in the sunshine, give sea salt spray a try. I don't have a recommendation for you because Sally's is discontinued.
I'm going to go on a journey and I'll report back.
Wilmon's sea salt spray.
Wow.
Trademark. Right.
I'm trademarking it right now. TM.
If you want to leave a sea salt spray review for us, you can do so at iTunes or on Spotify. To leave a voicemail, hit the hotline 888-362-MAIL. That's 888-362-6245. Or you can write it at the link in the Twitter bio at Mail-In Podcast, or I've been doing this lately, in the description of this episode. So downstairs, there's a link.
Okay.
Should we get going?
Let's go.
Sally and Brett. My fiance and I are getting married in March 2023 in Italy, in the town she grew up in north of Venice.
Sounds tight.
Very nice. Some of my friends want to have a bachelor party prior to our wedding, specifically a ski trip. I live in the Midwest, so we would have to travel for a ski trip. And as you know, ski trips are notoriously expensive, as I'm sure are weddings in Italy. Also, I feel guilty making people pay for a trip to Italy and an additional ski trip. Most of my savings are going to the honeymoon fund/wedding. Any ideas for a cheaper ski trip or cheaper bachelor party? Thanks, handsome Brett and Super Sally. I think the whole point of this question is, should you feel guilty about destination wedding plus destination bachelor party or bachelorette party, regardless of Italy, ski trip, anything? Or do you get one?
Yes, you should feel guilty. I want to tell this guy, like, it's your wedding, do what you want, but your friend, and it sounds like his friends are into it, but I think it's the more kosher thing to do if you're having a out of town wedding, to
especially
have an
international
bachelorette party, bachelorette.
Okay.
I know that people do them. Obviously, and I'm not trying to offend anybody here. I'm just saying, if you're trying to save money, if you're trying to make sure it's convenient for your friends, having something that's like, here's a great example. My girlfriend's getting married in Italy in September. She lives in California. Most of the bridal party lives in Texas. We're doing like a camp weekend at a friend's river house.
Like Met Gala camp or camping camp?
Camping like fire, bonfires and s'mores and like.
Gosh, aren't you impressed? I had that in the bag though.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And like hanging out at the river and like barbecuing and stuff.
Very fun.
Or grilling out.
Ooh,
as people would call it in Texas in the summer. That's really convenient because we only have to drive like an hour and a half away. We're like staying at a friend's house. Should be really fun. But that being said, we literally all told her like a week ago when we were at her engagement party, I was like, I would have gone to Cabo. Like, low key. I know you wanted to. Like, we are at an age though where 8 years ago, that would have chapped my ass. Cause like, I don't have the vacation time. I don't have the money or the resources. Now that I'm a little bit older and like, especially that now that some of us have kids, we're like, we want to go on a trip. So like, I probably would have bitched and complained about having to go to Cabo, but like also would have enjoyed it. So here's my point on all of this. I do think that it's nicer to the guests, the people that are in your wedding, to not require travel for both things.
Okay.
But if they want it and you want it, then do it. But just don't be offended when somebody's like, hey, I can't swing it. And I think there's always the presenting like, this is about you. We want to make this a trip for you. And we want to we want everyone to have fun. Okay. Realistically, that's bullshit. It's about them. It's about your wedding. It's about, like no one's, we are making a trip out of Italy, but like, we're not going to Italy just to go to Italy. Yeah. Now I'm making it a full blown vacation, but like, I'm not going to like this river house just to go to a river house, but at the same time, they're your friends. You do shit for your friends. And like, I don't know.
I think this guy is also concerned. It sounds like
he feels like he needs to pay for
he's like, I'd love to swing a ski trip with y'all, but like I got a wedding in Italy to pay for / honeymoon to pay for that I'm already kind of tapping myself on. I can't really swing the Vail ski house for 4 days. Right.
And like you said, it feels like every time you do a ski trip, you're like, oh, this isn't bad. Like we got a house, but then like every dinner adds up. Every day you ski adds up because it's not like you have a pass. I was going to suggest, like, I know that there are places to ski, obviously in Michigan, but in Wisconsin too.
The Knob.
That may be a little bit more affordable, but also I'm thinking like sometimes when you go to a smaller place, they don't have like the big amenities that you need, like a house for 14 people that is at a reasonable price. Because sometimes, even though you think you might be saving money by going out to a smaller town, that's like screwing you.
Yeah, right. The smaller town thing, especially, okay, like I saved on the ski passes because it's a smaller mountain or whatever, but then the transportation recoups that because you have to fly to a bigger airport, then maybe you fly to a smaller airport, or like the party bus you get.
So you know what I think this guy should do?
What's that?
Like they're going to be in Northern Italy, just like go ski in Northern Italy, you idiot. Like obviously.
Like in March, so you're saying have everybody go if they can a couple days early and ski the Alps.
Okay, that's obviously a joke. That would be very, very tight, but like making everyone go on a ski trip pre-wedding in the Alps is probably not the cost-conscious option. But here's one thing I do like doing. Will's best friend did this, that Will was the best man for. We all traveled to Northern Michigan for the wedding. We were already, we go up to Northern Michigan once a year anyway in the summer, just because we all are there to visit family and stuff. But he was like, I can't ask you to like travel to Northern Michigan and also travel somewhere else. So they did the bachelor party like 2 days before the wedding.
Yep. That's, by the way, that's like how they all used to be, right?
I think honestly, especially when you're having a destination wedding and you can like have an extra day, be like, hey, if y'all can come in a day early, we're not going to do a bachelorette party. We're going to do something that like the Thursday before.
Sure.
I think that's a great way to do it. And then your friends, like you have the extra day, especially if you're going on like a destination wedding, you have a chance for the wedding party to kind of meet each other, but like then also split off and like not have to like be with your spouse. And I don't know. I like that. I don't know how feasible that is with Italy, but I have done that as well. And it's a good option for people doing destination
and if the friends are, by the way, I totally agree with you, but let's fantasize here a little bit. If you are dead set or your friends are dead set, Denver's probably the cheapest airport to get to in terms of skiing. And whether you stay in Denver and ride up in the morning, whatever, to a mountain, like you can go to like A Basin or Keystone, which are all cheaper mountains than going to Breck and renting a house for 4 days, or Vail and renting a house for 4 days. So there's ways to do it that are not going to slaughter you. If you stay at a Hampton Inn in Denver, ride up with your buddies, the Chicago to Denver Southwest flight is going to be $219 or whatever. So there's ways to do it on a relative budget. But I think one of the points you made earlier that I liked was this depends on age and resources. Like at 25, 26, I'd be like, oh, fuck. At 35, 36, it's, okay, maybe we can swing that. But
also, people forget, like, I think the societal pressure to like have this bachelor party and have the wedding and like This guy seems pretty. I mean, a ski trip is fun. That's great. But also, if they want to have a bachelor party and you want to just go to like some cool town that's an hour away from where you live.
Totally.
Like Texas is great for this. I mean, every state has this, but like specifically speaking to Austin, like Fredericksburg, it's like an hour and a half away. It has like wine country.
Which we need to, can we do that? Like a wine bus situation? I
mean, the wine's pretty sweet, but like,
well, I'm into that stuff.
But there's things to do. There's outdoorsy stuff. So like that exists everywhere. Find a place that's easy to go. Rent a place for a night, maybe 2. Yeah. You don't have to make a 3-day weekend out of it, and like go hang out with your friends. Like I think people get so caught up in we have to do skiing, or we have to do Cabo, or we have to do
golf.
We have to do a wine trip, that it gets all lost on like, if you're so consumed with like being in Napa for this bachelorette party, you miss the like what you're really there for, which is like hanging out with your friends.
Yeah.
And supporting your friend who's getting married. So sometimes like honestly the most fun ones I've been on, we have like hung out at the house the whole time and like made food and like chatted and like just like played games and whatever. And I know that sounds almost like juvenile, but like that is why you're doing it. Like you're going to hang out with your friends to like capture the old feeling back of like being in college or being in high school. And guess what? In college and high school, you weren't like spending thousands of dollars going on ski trips or to Napa. So I think people forget about that. Like the most enjoyable ones are the ones that are just really low key.
I agree. I agree. I like trips as much as the next guy, but the moments that you remember are when you took an edible and played charades and like at the house.
Right.
Doesn't matter if you skied or not.
So don't feel the pressure to like go do a ski trip just because your boys want a ski trip. Like y'all can take a ski trip whenever.
You know what they should have at the house though while they're there, whatever they end up doing.
This is an easy, like this should be at every bachelor, bachelorette party, wedding party, etc.
Cases of Vizzy hard seltzer, because if you're looking for a vibe while you're doing your bachelor or bachelorette or whatever party, honestly, doesn't even need to be those. Maybe it's your wedding. Have a bucket of Vizzy hard seltzers, because I guarantee you they will be a vibe. Vizzy hard seltzer is made with vitamin or antioxidant vitamin C. Antioxidants, Sally. We're big fans of big vibes and big fans of antioxidants. As the first hard seltzer with antioxidant vitamin C and bold and delicious fruit flavors, Vizzy hard seltzer passes the vibe check. They just launched the Mimosa hard seltzer. Sally, are you familiar with this?
I tried to sneak some on the plane to Cabo.
How would you do that?
So you can bring stuff, but then I wasn't going to check a bag. So then I decided not to. And then last second I decided to check a bag, but
big mistake, by the way.
Big mistake.
I checked a bag and waited an hour and a half after.
Yeah, it's not a good plan. But I mean, it would have been worth it to put the Vizzy in there.
It would have. It absolutely would have. Vizzy has taken the classic OJ and champagne duo to a new level by creating a hard seltzer inspired by the classic cocktail. It's made with real OJ and coming in 4 delicious flavors: strawberry orange, pineapple orange, peach orange, and pomegranate orange. I've had the pineapple. I've had the peach. Phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal.
I have not tried the pomegranate orange yet. I'm very excited about it.
Let's get after it.
Get into it this weekend.
It's made from superfruit acerola cherry. And that's just part of the fun, because there's so many flavors of Vizzy already out there that can make any bonfire, patio, boat, I guess I love B words, golf, etc., bachelorette, bachelor parties, beach. The list goes on. Vizzy has lemonade hard seltzer as well as watermelon hard seltzer, and each variety pack offers 4 delicious fruit flavors and the same antioxidant vitamin C. There's also the OG flavors everybody knows and loves. Vizzy hard seltzer passes the vibe check, and we need to get some Vizzies in your hands immediately. So to find out how to do that, go to VizzyHardSeltzer.com/washed. That's VizzyHardSeltzer.com/washed to get updates on their latest flavor drops and more. Sign up for their emails at VizzyHardSeltzer.com/subscribe. That's VizzyHardSeltzer.com/subscribe. You must be 21 plus to enjoy. How about a voicemail, Sally?
Let's do it.
Hi, I'm 30 years old and I've never had to stand up for myself. How do you tell someone basically to politely fuck off without throwing into fisticuffs? I'm not that guy, pal. All right, I'll hang up and listen.
Our man is 30 years old, has to stand up for himself. He's not traditionally that guy. So how do you tell somebody to fuck off without losing a job? Perhaps, I think, is what we're trying to get to the bottom of here, Sally, because I'm not very good at this either.
Wow. This is, I think everyone struggles with this at some point, and it gets easier the older you get. I think one, because you know yourself better, and two, because you like lose the like sense of like, everything can be taken away from me at any moment, which is like how like the imposter syndrome part of it, you know?
Yep.
Like I think back to how much of a suck up I was like in my first job and in school, and like cared about all the shit that did not matter. And now I'm like, I spent so much of my time worried about what people thought of me. And yes, that's important. Like you need people to like you and seem presentable and responsible and go to your job. But at the same time, like you're not a punching bag.
Right.
And that's so important to realize. And like, I think more than ever, especially post-pandemic, people are realizing like every person is entitled to a work-life balance. Every person is entitled to like a good working environment that has like cordial relationships and like not being treated like shit by your employer or by your coworker, Sarah, or like whatever, you know?
Your manager, your boss,
Right.
like, yeah.
And so one is recognizing that you are entitled to a good job if you work hard. And two is putting that into practice. I think Will and I are really good about this, like canceling each other out. Cause like I will bitch to Will about work and I'll be like, I'm so pissed about this. And he's like, well then like, why don't you just speak your mind?
Sure.
And I'm like, cause I can't go in and like say all the shit that I just said to you.
Yeah.
Like
there's a degree of I can say
Right.
stuff, but you can't say everything you want. You can say some sort of it. I think a lot of it comes down to, for me especially, like has been sort of earning the ability to do
Right.
that and
Yes.
saying, hey, like this is gonna like building your leverage on something like that. Okay, like I've done this, so I think I have a little more leeway to speak my mind or to be honest
Right.
instead of being kind of in the background on things.
Right.
So you part of it, how do you speak up? Part of it is earning and knowing the ability that if you do, the repercussions are not going to be, well, you're fired.
Right.
And there's ways to do it, right? You can't just like say, fuck you, you're the first fucking whatever.
Yeah.
But there's ways to be honest with somebody and say like, that's not going to fly here.
Well, yes. So I totally agree with that point. Number two for me is bounce it off somebody else.
Sure.
Because they're going to tone down whatever your emotions are. So when Will and I talk about work and we're frustrated and something's going on, it takes the other person who, especially it's helpful when like we're not in the same industry, to be like, for Will to be like, okay, explain to me why this is an issue for you. And then you can't go in guns blazing and like yell at everybody. Well, like, what's the real root of the problem? Identify your emotion. Why are you pissed off? Like, what are they doing to annoy you? And then like, what would be a constructive way? So whoever it is, whether you have a significant other, your mom, your best friend, another coworker who you trust, to like listen to you bitch and then be like, okay, how do we parse that down into something that's respectful and constructive?
Run it through a friend filter.
Yes, exactly. Because there have been times, never at work, but like when I'm dealing with other interpersonal relationships, or like maybe I was frustrated at our landlord or something like that, where like I want to like shoot off an email and Will's like, okay, let me see that. You can't.
Yeah.
You're being kind of Karen right now and you need to like really tone it down. And that like, it's not everyone has that inner filter. Most people don't. So having someone else be like,
let me
take
give
about
it a pass.
80% of that and then you can just send the email. Like, the other thing that I think is helpful in gaining that confidence, because I think that this guy sounds like he knows what he wants to say. It's just like he feels like he, like you said, hasn't earned the right. is realizing that all of your coworkers around you probably feel the same way and give less fucks than you do. So like that has helped me tremendously. And like, especially when I was in school, like I felt guilty if I was sick and had to like not go into work. And literally Will was like, why? Like you're on your deathbed.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need to be freaking out about not being there when like literally some of your like classmates are just like straight up not showing up. So not saying that you should take a page out of their book and care less, but you also have to realize that like people, there are probably worse people than you, if that makes sense.
And right. And the age old, thing is if there's a bully, you stand up to the bully, it tends to stop quicker than beating around the bush on it. So I think that's you just kind of
run it
you
through
go
a friend
100%,
filter.
take about 20% off via friend filter. And
practice it. If you like, I used to be the person who was so scared of confrontation. You could like hear the shaking in my voice.
Mm-hmm.
That's funny because I'm not afraid of confrontation now.
If you're late on a Fritz birthday party vendor, if you're a vendor who's late on something, you're going to hear about it.
Yeah. What?
Didn't you have an issue with something?
Oh yeah, the margarita machine guy didn't pick up the thing in time. It was fine. It really didn't affect me at all, actually. But I think that you have to. It's just a skill. It's like it's the same way that any other skill takes practice. You have to practice it over and over again. So standing up for yourself at work is also standing up for yourself when the restaurant brings the wrong order. Is also standing up for yourself when your friend hurt your feelings. Like it's being comfortable enough with yourself and knowing what you deserve. And then in everyday life, even when it's small things like your mom making a comment to you, being like, that hurt my feelings. Or, you know what I'm saying? Like you did this incorrectly. I need you to do it again or whatever it is. That all takes practice. And it also takes practice in like learning how to be respectful. Because there have been times where I've corrected somebody or stood up for myself and then had to go back and apologize and be like, I came on too strong. Mm-hmm. I appreciate what you're doing, but I need your help this way.
It comes with experience too. Like you said, it's tough to go into something new or meet, like it comes with time. It comes with experience, but good luck. Let's do the next one. Hey, mail-in crew. First time writer, long time listener. I got an invitation to a bachelorette party and a wedding save the date for the same weekend on the same day. The question is, which one do I go to? Simple enough there, but here we go. For reference, the events are in two separate cities requiring approximately the same amount of flying time from my home city. The wedding part of it is for a second cousin of my husband. We don't see them often, like once every other year, and we didn't even know he was engaged or even dating anyone until our wedding last year when he asked for a +1. Another caveat, my husband's parents do not like me at all, as in they no-showed our wedding / constantly belittle me, so that adds to my stress. My husband is an only child, so I don't have any siblings-in-law to distract his parents from us. The batch party is for a very old, close friend of mine, and a lot of my other close friends will be on this trip. I live very far apart from all my closest friends, including the bride, so it's not like I can really offer to take her to dinner separately without extreme coordination. My husband thinks that I should go with him to the family wedding, and usually I'm pretty family first. However, when it comes to events where his parents are planning to attend, it really causes my mental health to take a dive. I totally get if I'm trash for even asking the question. Thanks in advance for the advice and tough love.
This is so easy.
The easiest question I think we've ever had on the mail-in.
You go on the bachelorette party.
You go on the bachelorette party 1,000 times out of 1,000.
I would like to first say I'm really sorry that you have such a strained relationship with your in-laws because that really sucks. In-laws can be hard even when you have great relationships with them. And unfortunately, that's something that you're probably going to have to deal with their whole lives, at least. I hope that your husband at least sees all of this and like respects it. I think that is so important because one of the biggest things that I think marital counseling taught Will and I is like our relationship is first, in-laws, friends, etc. is second. So like regardless of what's going on with other interpersonal relationships, you and your spouse should be committed to each other no matter what.
Right.
So number one. Number two, I think that there have been situations where I've had a bachelorette party and Will's had a wedding for someone that I'm also pretty close to, and I've gone on the bachelorette party because it was the friend that I was closer with.
Yeah.
I mean, that's for sure happened for Will. Like, I have gone to weddings by myself because Will had like a guy's trip happening, and it was like one of his friends that is getting married, or like one of my friends, but one of his, like, he's friends with them, whatever. But like that's perfectly acceptable regardless of all the parent stuff.
I totally agree. It's a second cousin of your husband.
Right.
So you are a +1 to begin with.
Right.
I guess you're married, so it's like a little different. But,
right.
But no way. That would be undue mental stress on you for months.
Right.
Plus add the stress of not going to your closest friend's bachelorette party,
right.
feeling guilty about that. That's a lose-lose. When go take one win and one loss in quotation marks.
Right. I mean, honestly, you probably are going to continue to feel guilty about it, especially sounding like his parents are not great and they're probably going to be bitchy about it. But at the same time, like, wouldn't you rather they be bitchy about it and you not be there than like have to endure like their snide comments towards you while you're there?
100%.
A place you don't want to be.
There's always another wedding in a family that you're going to be able to attend, and they'll make a joke like, "Oh, look who came to this one." And it's like, yeah, and then it's done.
And if you want to be really gracious about it, email or like send a letter to the cousin and his like fiance and be like, "I'm so sorry I can't be there. Had this bachelorette party planned beforehand. One of my closest friends."
Yeah.
Like they probably don't give a shit if you're there, honestly. Like, his parents are going to care more and be snottier about it. But again, not your problem.
Now, how does she deal with like the husband side of it?
I think she just tells her husband, like,
tell the I guess the
she's
truth.
I mean, that's the thing. I think more than anything, like when Will and I have been in this situation, it's like, oh, I totally understand. I'm more bummed that you can't go with me because like I want you to travel with me. Like,
sure.
I want to be hanging out with you.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to be with other people at this wedding. You know what I'm saying? Like, if for me, that's probably what this is. Like, he wants her as a buffer, probably for his own family.
Sure.
But that's also not her responsibility.
Yeah.
And like, she should be able to hang out with her friends.
One, he'll know 20, 30 people there already. Right. She doesn't know anybody besides the parents and the sort of the cousin and her
right.
husband. Like, it's just it's a no-brainer for me. And we have your back. And if you want to have him listen to this,
you're
we
not
got
even
your
trash
back.
for asking.
No, not at all.
No. Go on the Bachelorette.
Hey team, this question has been on my mind for a while, and I think you'll be the perfect people to answer. Thanks in advance. I absolutely love my boyfriend, but Adam, I've noticed he's been putting on some weight recently. Is it my place to say something? If so, what do I say that's not offensive? Adam, sorry, that was not about you. A few details. His job is stressful and he doesn't have time to work out often. He drinks a lot, like more than I'd like him to. When we hang out together, primarily weekends, we typically order in, and I know he does this often alone during the week too. In passing, I've suggested taking a workout class together or joining a gym together, but he has not followed through on it. I hate to say it, but I don't want to get to a point where I stop feeling physically attracted to him. Appreciate any advice. Thanks. Signed, Gym Rat.
Okay, we've answered the questions like this before.
We have.
They always suck. Truthfully, no one is going to make him work out until he wants to.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if anything in this life has taught me anything, I do not... The desire to like get fit, lose weight, be healthy, is more often than not 100% self-motivated. And like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
totally internal.
Unless you like, have some health problem and they're like, you have to lose weight or you're going to die.
Yeah. Chances are everybody's got high blood pressure. So just be like, hey, I heard your high blood pressure's acting up. Like, gotta kick it into gear there, pal.
I think this becomes more difficult when you add the like, I'm not as physically attracted to this person anymore.
Can you How do you feel about telling your significant other that? Like straight up.
I think that that's really hard to come back from.
I do too. But
I think
or at least I'm losing it because of your weight gain. Because how shallow is that?
And it's not even the shallow part. It's like you're going to put an insecurity in their head that like is going to be really hard for them to get rid of forever.
Yeah.
Because even if they lose the weight, they're always going to be thinking like, okay, well, if I don't stay this way, like Will and I have been together for 7 years and we have had our shares of like one of us getting bigger, one of us getting smaller, you know, ups and downs of weight as anybody does in a 7-year span. Totally. I think the most important thing is to like support that person. He doesn't sound like he's at the stage, like Will and I have both been in the stage where we're like, I feel so gross about myself, blah, blah. And like, when I say that, Will be like, okay, like, do you want to eat healthy today? Like, do you want to work out? Blah, blah. And there are just times where I'm like, no. The times that I like really kick my ass into gear is not because I've said to Will, like, I feel gross. And he's like, okay, go work out. It's like, I just all of a sudden decide like, okay, I'm doing this.
Yeah.
I think the best thing you can do for a partner when they're feeling that way is to like listen to them, validate them, offer help. You don't have to be like, yeah, I noticed that you're gaining weight. Just be like, okay, if you feel that way, like I love you no matter what, but I think that if you feel that way, I will help you achieve your goals. Like I wanted to eat out, but let's eat in and have a salad. But it sounds like he's not even there.
No, he's still in the
I think it's really, until he feels it, it's going to be hard for him to like want to change. And I personally, Will and I trust each other so much. I think at this point, I would say to him like, hey, I've noticed this if I felt like it was getting to a point where it was like affecting his health. You know what I'm saying? Right. Or his mental health. But like, I would never ever tell him like, if you gain more weight, I'm not going to be attracted
like losing the attraction to you. That's because that's an ultimatum that
I'm not trying to like shit on her for feeling that way.
No.
Because that is a true
happens.
feeling.
Yeah.
Like, absolutely, you're valid in saying that. But at the same time, realize that you could say that and that will never leave his brain.
Yeah.
Again.
That's one of those instances where like on the surface, I was like, oh, like being honest here might be an avenue, but when you put it like that, I'm like, ooh, that's actually probably. I think
there are times when you can say like, it's really unattractive to me that you drink every weekend.
Oh, totally. Like that's
you know, like, or if you want it to be your motivated, like, hey, I really want to like stay in tonight and cook. If you want to do it that way, that's fine. And if there are parts of that are non-negotiables for you, like that he's getting super drunk or I also think like if he's just like laying there not being motivated, that for me is something that you can be like, hey, it's getting like, I think that you need to motivate a little bit. It's like hard for me to watch.
I think that's a great way to put it, Sally. Like it's not necessarily fair to be unattracted to weight gain. It's very fair to be unattracted to the lack of motivation.
Yes.
And like that is 100% okay. So maybe if you frame it like that and you want to be honest, that's the route you take. Then again, he's got a stressful job, doesn't have a lot of time. He drinks like, I think there's a way to, if you wanted to be honest with him, there's a way to do it kind of like going around. But being supportive and being there for him is also part of the equation here.
Health is such a spectrum, and like, I mean, he will probably use like the job and
there's excuses,
whatever. But like the thing is that when you want to change your mindset and your body and your health, like you don't make excuses anymore. And I have been through that roller coaster my whole life. Like I'll be periods of like feeling really great about myself. And then there's periods where I'm like, you know what? I don't want to work out. Like I don't feel like it. I know I feel like shit. I don't care. I'm right there right now, actually.
A week post cleanse.
Yeah. Right? Week post cleanse on my period. I'm like, man, we're good.
We're all set.
Sorry. TMI I was like, get me out of here.
That one, this one's tough. I appreciate you saying we're the perfect people for it, but I think it's fair to be unattracted to lack of motivation.
Yeah.
I'll put it that way.
For sure.
Hi, Sally. It's coming right at you, Sally. You ready for this one? Listening to this week's episode, and I'm very confused on your stance on men and women being friends. If men and women cannot be friends in your eyes, then I really have trouble understanding. Are you friends with Brett, Dylan, Dave, your sister's husband? Do you think they all have a thing for you? Do you have a thing for them? Otherwise, I do not understand the concern. Big, big, big apologies for, quote, coming at you. But I think if you're going to say something like, quote, men and women cannot be platonic friends while you work with several male friends is confusing, I would just like some clarification on your thinking. Thank you, fellow woman.
Okay. I don't feel like you came at me. That's fine. I think that there's some confusion.
Some caveats and confusion.
My stance has always been that single men and women cannot platonically be friends.
Okay.
So
those are
one
two
of them being attracted to the other, or there's or the underlying sexual tension of two single people being friends.
Okay.
I have never said, especially this, like me being with Will, and if all of y'all were single, I would totally be fine being friends with all of you because I have a partner.
Right.
Maybe this gets easier when you're older.
Okay.
But I personally never found the ability to be platonically friends with guys that were like, and I'm talking about like best friends. I think you can absolutely be friends with like some other single guy who's like a coworker or like
a
friend.
volleyball team
like,
partner.
I think about all of my guy friends in college that like were single at the time that I was friends with. There were multiple people in college and after college or in high school that were my quote best friend, and I was single and he was single, and one of us was always attracted to the other person.
Gotcha.
When you spend that much time with somebody and you know all their ins and outs, and they're basically like a relationship to you, I personally believe it's very hard to keep that platonic without one of you feeling one way. Because I think the human brain is so wired in the sense of like, we are looking for a partner. I need companionship. I need this and that. That when you pour all of your energy into the sex of a person or a person of the sex that you're interested in, that it becomes really easy to blur the line of, oh, I like this person's my best friend, to, oh, wait, like he's actually kind of attractive, or like she like is really sweet and like takes care of me, and like all of a sudden like she did her hair one way and now I'm attracted to her. I just think primal instinct, wanting a partner, et cetera,
and the partner, like if somebody has a partner aspect, like it shades that.
It shades that, but also like Will is my best friend.
Yeah, sure.
Of the opposite sex. Like he's the person I'm closest to, that it's not a girl. Or like one of my sisters or my mom. So like it would probably be really fucking weird. I mean, I wouldn't, if you and I were like closer than anybody else in my life. I'm not saying that doesn't exist. I think that dynamic is a lot easier given the fact that I'm married. Totally. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, because then there's no, in my mind, I would never be able to like get to an attraction level with you. Not that you're not attractive, but like have a crush on
Adam.
you and still love my husband.
Totally. Yeah. No, I think how I always took your stance was single coworker / friend / like, you like corporate softball teammate type of thing.
Right.
That's hard to not develop some sort of crush. If maybe it's not like this deep.
Yeah. It's not, it doesn't always have to be like
but
unrequited love, but there has never been a point where two single people who are attracted to attracted to the same sex of that person, like are not thinking like, okay, she's hot.
Attraction might be different than attraction crush.
Starts when you become best friends with somebody. Because think about like even your guy best friend, or my girl best friend.
Mm-hmm.
You share stuff with that person. You don't share with anybody else. You see them all the time. You call them when you're angry. You do this and that. And that's what you do with a partner. So when you're doing that and you think, oh, they're kind of cute, it's easy for your brain to be like, oh, wow, what if she was my girlfriend?
Mm-hmm. That's fair. That's fair. I don't necessarily totally agree with like I don't totally agree, but I'm like, I'm
I just think
there.
it's easier for you to get to that point when you're both single and you're best friends. But that's why I'm saying it's absolutely perfect for two single people of the opposite sex to be platonic friends. If you're just like casually like, oh, hey, it's so good to see you. Let's go grab a drink. Or like, yeah, your work friend or someone that you like you hang out in a mutual group where like you're the single girl and he's the single guy. But when you cross the line of like, I'm calling you when I'm upset, I text you first thing in the morning because they're your best friend, that is very easy to cross the line into not platonic.
That's the spectrum. Once you get into that, once they're the first person you're going to and you're still just friends, that's when it gets.
But all of that being said, this is probably due to my own personal experience. I have never been best friends with a guy when we were both single and not develop feelings for him.
Okay.
Or vice versa. That's why I'm always really critical of when people are like, oh, like my work wife is like, you know, I'm just finding her really attractive and I don't know why. I'm like, because you tell that person everything.
You're programmed for it.
Your brain is programmed to want to make them your partner. So I'm sure that platonic single friends, best friends exist when they both are attracted to like a man attracted to a woman and a woman attracted to a man, and they can be platonic. I'm sure that exists somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Personally, show me one, and then I'll be like, if you don't feel that way, the other person does. Just saying.
There it is. Sally has clarified.
I've clarified or made it more confusing. I don't know.
There's like what's the scientific thing? Like law, theory, and
I think it's
hypothesis.
Theory.
I think we're probably somewhere between theory and law. I call it a theory. You probably call it a law. The theory of platonic friends.
Like theory, you're like, there's still some
evidence there, like, but I'm not totally
like
convinced.
Law for me, it's like this will. If Adam brought a girl to the Christmas party and he was like, "This is like my best friend. We share everything," and I'd be like, "You're attracted to her." Okay? we know it.
Last one for today, Sally. Ready?
Yes.
Sally Wag and Peanut Brettle.
Wow.
Hate it. I can't be Peanut Brettle. Adam says it's pretty good. I don't know. With warmer weather coming and a new boo, congratulations, I've been seeing for around 4 months now. I've been thinking on taking a trip with her. Some options include New York and LA. Location really isn't the issue, but this would be our first couples trip or trip together, period. Things are progressing amazingly. And with her, and although I cannot quite afford paying for all parts of the trip, I want to at least front a chunk of it or offer to pay for flights/lodging and a fancy dinner, of course. Any tips or advice on planning a first trip with a significant other?
Love
etiquette,
this for them.
breakdowns, etc. Mainly what I need advice on, but keep in mind, I'm not trying to stunt and spend, but I just want to have a good time with my sig of. Love you too. You make my Thursdays bearable, and I will shut up and listen. Cheers.
I love this.
Me too. It's a fun time, right?
It's what a fun time in a relationship. There's always
total
fun times,
honeymoon
even
phase
when you're 7 years in. Just let me just say, but
yeah, it's like the honeymoon before the honeymoon.
Okay, I think it's great to want to offer. I think if you have the funds and you can do part of it, I think lodging is the most like easy
and
thing
I think
to cover.
Probably the most socially
acceptable.
Yeah, because like flights,
I don't
maybe,
think that anybody's expecting for their flight to get paid,
especially like trip number 1.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of when Will and I first started dating, I went with him to one of our friends' weddings as his +1.
You guys were on the wedding train like early.
Literally, we had been dating for a month, and he was in the wedding. And like, thankfully now we're like best friends with this couple. I mean, Will was already best friends with them, but like I'm very close with them now. I made Will pay for my flight, which was like ultimately such a bitchy thing to do. But I like didn't know him very well, and I was like,
You didn't know where this was necessarily going. You're
like you can pay for my flight. It was bitchy. But then like probably 2 months later, we did go on a trip together, and we went to my grandparents' beach house in Florida. And I was already in Florida, so he came and met me, and like obviously lodging was free because it was my grandparents' house, and he paid for his flight. I think we split the rental car because we had to like drive like an hour to get to the house. And then I think Will paid for a couple dinners, but we like also did like grocery runs and stuff like that. And most of it we split.
Gotcha. Yeah, I think to your point there's not a ton of pressure right at this point to pay for everything. It's
I don't think I ever went into it being like, I got the beach house, so you can pay for everything.
Yeah.
And I felt bad about making him pay for my flight 2 months earlier. Okay, so I don't even think it was like let me Venmo you for this. It was kind of one of those like, oh, I got this, you get this, easy type of thing. But that was kind of how our relationship was from the beginning. Sure. I don't think we were pretty even on stuff like that. I think paying for lodging is like a really nice gesture, socially acceptable. I don't think that you have to worry about paying for flights. And then I think paying for a dinner or two. But like, yeah, if you're going out to a nice dinner, obviously offer to pay if you can afford it and you want to. But like if you're going to get tacos at like a taco stand, like you don't have to pay for that.
Sure. Yeah. I think the hotel room is probably step one.
Yeah.
Or like whatever. And then a dinner doesn't have to be the fanciest dinner. It doesn't have to be the nicest dinner, but like if you're going to a beach and you have a beachside restaurant, like on stilts or something like that, which I love, and you get like a $90 dinner, like pick that up and you're good to go. I think that's more than plenty.
I mean, New York, LA, when you're a brand new couple, like everything seems really exciting. So like going on a trip to like the middle of nowhere, you're like, oh my God. Like you also are like not in the comfortable stage yet or like the lazy stage yet. So you're like willing to like go to like a bunch of stuff. You're like, like let's go to the museum and then like let's try this around. Like sake tasting and then let's do this. So that's fun. That was like my I mean, we went like full tourist when we were like on this trip in Florida. We were like, screw it. Like we're just gonna go like eat dinner with like all the grandparents at 6 p.m.
Oh yeah.
And like pretend we're the Rum Diaries, and our relationship will implode like Johnny Depp and Amber Heard 7 years later. I'm just kidding. That did
Yikes.
not happen. We did actually we got hammered at like where my grandparents have a beach house is essentially like a retirement community on an island. And we got really, really drunk at the beach and went to dinner like down the street from my grandparents' house at 6 p.m. with like all the other early birds. Got even more drunk. We were definitely the youngest people there on rum drinks, and then came home. We're like, well, let's rent Pirates of the Caribbean, and like fell asleep in 2 seconds. With rum, yeah, tight, and like idiots. Yeah. So I think going to any city, but like especially LA and New York, where there's like a whole slew of things you can do with culture and food and art and just people watching, and you don't have to like make everything about. Both of those cities have stuff you can do that's free.
Sure. Like
going to Central Park and like hanging out. You don't have to like go buy an insane dinner at Carbone, you know? Right. So there are tons of options there, especially when you can make it a decently cheap trip when you go somewhere that has like an international accessible airport, has cheaper lodging.
Yeah.
And most of these places either have super nice restaurants or you can go to like a hole in the wall.
I don't think you have to ball out 4 months in.
Yeah.
I don't think you have to. Like you're both still, it's still fun. You're still kind of getting to know it like friend wise in a way. I don't think she's going to be like, why didn't he take me to like Cipriani or whatever? Like,
and you know what? I think that trip, I'm just thinking back to this. We did go to one night's dinner and it was like the kind of the weirdest experience we had. Cause like the whole time we're just like playful and drunk and like doing like random shit. And we like went to this nice dinner and we were both like, what's happening right now? Like, we really should be like drinking by the pool.
Yeah, right.
You
It's
know?
like you don't need to.
But you can if you want. It's always like a fun excuse to like get really dressed up and go somewhere.
Hey, that's true. That's true. I'm trying to think of
I
like
love this for them.
keep it light though. I don't think that you like going with expectations, tapered,
Yeah.
and just have fun. Make sure it's fun. I think
Yeah.
is kind of the one goal here instead of getting serious or like rose petals on the bed type of stuff. Like
Yeah.
you don't need to
You don't
go
need
that
to do a
far.
spa day.
You don't need to do a
Go
spa
somewhere
day.
with a pool.
Yeah.
Like we're supposed to go to LA in a couple weeks and
LA?
really Santa Monica, and I'm quite pumped.
Oh,
Mostly
I'm
just
jealous.
hang out
I
at the
love Santa
pool.
Monica.
Yeah.
Love Santa Monica.
So, yeah, this is fun for them.
Very fun. Very fun. I'm excited for you guys. Let me know where you end up going.
I'm gonna divorce Will and then like redate him so we can have like the pre-couples trip.
Ooh. There's got to be like a rom-com in that. We always say
but
that
you
on the
know,
stupid
like it's
show.
harder now that we have a kid to just be like, let's divorce, rekindle the romance, but we have this child that we have to also take care of.
All on purpose too.
All on purpose, just to recapture that 4-month feeling.
Right. The re-honeymoon.
Yeah.
Any shower thoughts today, Sally, before we get out of here?
Not really. You have any? Hold on. I
totally did. I totally did, and now I cannot remember.
Hold on. I do have a note. 1 second. That I wrote some on. That I was looking at on the plane the other day.
Oh, okay.
Did I? Never mind. I deleted the note.
Oh, come
I
on.
deleted the note on my phone. Oh, damn it. Oh, well.
That's tough.
We don't even need them. We're at an hour anyway.
We'll have shower thoughts for you guys next week. Sally, thank you very much. Where can the people find you?
Sally DeFries on Instagram and Twitter.
Adam, where can the people find you? Nobody can hear him, unfortunately. He's at New Datum on both platforms. We can have your voicemails if you hit the hotline number 888-362-MAIL. That's 888-362-6245.
Where can the people find you, Brett?
Oh, I'm Brett Merriman at Schmerriman on both Instagram and Twitter. Check out the link in our Twitter bio at Mail In Podcast to write in a question or in this description. I'll throw a link in as well. See you guys next week.
Bye.